Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy and Reality, a podcast where we talk about different genres, different things, different topics, and let our imagination kind of take over. I'm Shannon Malone de Benedictis, the owner of Paddling Creative. I'm a documentary filmmaker, workshop facilitator, and body image coach. And my co host,
Hey, I'm Elara Dunn. I am a YA fantasy author and illustrator.
so we're going to talk about embrace your power, self-esteem, and bullying. Now, embrace your power, that is care of my incredible, I don't know which side she's on, my incredible co-host, but let's talk about kind of self-esteem and bullying and let's get to kind of why it's important to us. So, Laura, you kick it off.
Okay. Uh, my entire book series was based around this idea of bullying and helping kids. The number of kids that are being bullied is I couldn't believe it. You grow up thinking it's just you because it's
Hmm.
so isolating. It's just an isolating thing. And there's so many kids that are struggling so hard right now, and in the core of my being I wanted toxic positivity. I wanted to tell them it was okay.
Hmm.
So I started writing this book on kids that are being bullied who get a magic power to defend themselves.
Hmm.
While I started writing it, I realized very quickly that, first of all, I am not a licensed psychiatrist, but I had to give some form of coping,
Hmm.
just responsibility in the book. And basically, in the book, I highly encourage kids to talk to their guidance counselor or to go to, counseling, whatever they might need. So the characters do these things. But to me, it was important to give like a very true inner voice. Like, this is how it feels. Like, there's gonna be trust issues. There's gonna be issues, and sort of normalize that inner dialogue.
Hmm. So, would you say that bullying is worse now than it was when we were kids in the late 20th century?
I'm gonna say no because I think it's just more documented and talked about now.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see
I mean,
that.
there's certainly online bullying, but yes, like that's absolutely bad. We didn't have that. But yeah, I mean, it's bad and it still is bad.
Yeah. And in your experience, and you write about this in the book in your books. How do you kind of write about the bullying and the self-esteem with your characters? How do you connect that?
Well, most of it is the first book is told mostly through my main character's point of view.
Hmm.
So Ellie, you're seeing everything from Ellie's perspective. She's not me at all because she plays trombone and I play trumpet. I mean, nothing alike.
Totally different.
Yeah,
Not even you.
basically, I
Yeah.
poured my inner thoughts into this character, and she meets some
Mhm.
new people, and immediately, she thinks they're going to play a trick on her
Oh, yeah, I remember
because
that.
issues are still hard.
Hmm.
It still really is hard. So it's sort of, again, it's normalizing that inner dialogue. It's the
Hmm.
acknowledgement that you may have some trust issues during and after bullying. But at one point, she says that her friends don't deserve that and that she needs to learn and trust. And I think that's an important lesson because you're going to deal with bullies your entire life, but you can
Hmm.
empower yourself. And that to me was the core message, is that empowering anybody who might read this.
I think I is I've mentioned this earlier episodes. Everybody buy these books. They're just incredible and they're just motivational and wonderful. And I've already given them to friends of mine's kids and things. I think that they're just fantastic. I think that one thing about kids, and look, in full disclosure, I have no children. I have two nephews I dote on, but I do not have children. Um, is I remember thinking that everything that was going through my mind was an absolute, that it was absolutely true. And it's not, it comes with age comes wisdom, is that when you realize, oh, it's so not true. Everything's not that way. It's not that. And I think that when your brain as well as outside forces keep like feeding this kind of negative monster, it just eats away at your esteem. It eats away because
Really
I
does.
I think bullying. One thing I will say is I grew up with somebody. I grew up being bullied because I was fat, and I also grew up with the disadvantage because I was fat that people would assume I was the bully, not the other way around, and and also I was someone who didn't tolerate it. So if someone was bullying me, yeah, I threw a punch. I mean, I fully admit it. S- yeah.
Goes right back down
Uh,
to misogyny, though.
yeah, no, yeah, it does. It totally does. But I also realized that so much of that external was also just feeding an inner dialogue.
Yeah.
It was feeding this inner dialogue, and that's why I as I started speaking about my career and started speaking about my life, because being a television professional, winning two Emmys and things, and being the only plus size woman in the room, one of maybe three in the room, is I realized I wanted to talk about it, and so I got my body image coaching certification, and 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 learned, that so much of this kind of self-esteem and bullying that we experience, that we also feeds our inner dialogue, is through cultural impositions, cultural kind of historical things like, the BMI was created by an insurance company, not medical doctors. The ideal thin waif idea was based around Anglo-Saxon white elite rich people in New England who said that we are the American standard and this is the healthiest type of way, and anything different from that is wrong, even though, culturally, genetically, it's not the case. So I think it's once you learn that and learn that all those things have been ingrained in you, um, and go, oh, it's a little bit like lifting the cloud is kind of clearing
Right.
and seeing it.
And you
Yeah.
touched upon a really crucial point for me. It's about the bullies, not about you.
Right.
And we could dive into that psychology as not certified people as much as we want. Um, Something I did touch upon is finding out that the bully is actually being bullied herself at home. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of the time it's the case, not all the time. But the point I wanted to make, and I have one, is it's not about you. And to me, I have a good friend that reads my books chapter by chapter for me to give me feedback. And one of her questions, she had not been bullied. And one of her questions was, why is the main character being bullied? And that's the hardest, that was the hardest thing for me. I'm
Mhm.
being bullied. I'm not XYZ. It must be my personality. I must be an awful person.
Mhm.
Because there was no really, it was just, you don't fit in. And so to me, I internalized that I just wasn't good enough. I was not deserving. And then some characters I mentioned, my main character thinks, she meets one of her friends and she's like, he's the kind of guy that probably always had a target on his back. So I think that there are reasons that the bullies give. And again, this is not your fault. If they say
Yeah.
you're not good enough because you're this or you're that, that is on them and you are worth something. So
Mm.
don't believe that. So again, it was important to me to sort of address all different kinds of bullying as well.
Mhm. No, it's not a monolith. It's not one
Right.
single thing. It is so many different things. And it's interesting you bring that up. It flashes back to an experience I had in junior high where there was a tiny slip of a girl, a teammate of mine, who just bullied me mercilessly. And finally, one day I said, "Why? Why are you bullying me?" And she said, "Because you're different and you don't care." And that actually made me, it kind of took a little little burden off me because
Right.
I was like, "Oh, it's you. It's
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah. And
It's
that is
you."
exactly what it is. And, I sort of
Yeah.
go back to this when we were talking about wildlife is that sort of innate thing that humans seem to have to push away something that's different.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of the cause of so many issues we have in this world.
I think one of, to pivot a little bit, I think one thing to about embracing, let's talk about embracing your power.
Okay.
Because one thing that I feel is that this is just me, there's no science behind it, it's just my own weird philosophical thing. Is like we only have a certain amount of energy, emotional and mental energy. And when you learn to push away the bullying, you learn to push away those external factors who are telling you aren't worth it because they're just dealing with their own stuff. It's saving your energy for things that are important.
Right.
That's my, and to me, that's how I view embrace your power. So how do you embrace your power? Because I know that's a key theme in your books.
And it's important because, it's something that it's something you think about every day. And I think it is, and it's hard to tell, especially like a teenager in a small town, this, or, probably a big town too, but that's where my perspective is coming from. Is that, again, you just have to try to elevate your own worth to
Hmm.
you. Realize it's about them and not you. But I also think this is easier said than done.
Hmm.
I think the most important thing is that we realize that those feelings they're normal, and to sort of normalize and say I don't trust anybody, I have no friends, and then maybe to read the book or talk to someone else who's being bullied and
Hmm.
realize that is normal, like what you are feeling is normal, and connect with others and you will find that love in you.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah. So, any last words?
Embrace your power.
Embrace your power. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on yet another fantastic episode of Fantasy and Reality. Again, I'm Shannon Malone de Benedictus. You can find me at paddlingcreative.com. I'm also on most social media platforms. And if you like this, click like, please, and share it with your friends, your family, strangers. Just approach strangers and tell them that they've got to listen to this, okay? And my co-host, whichever way you are.
Again, I'm Elara Dunn. The Magic Locker, I have two books out and I'm in the middle of writing the third. I have The Witch's Curse and The Disappearing Cabin. They are both available on Amazon. Amazon. I'm trying to say Amazon and Kindle at the same time. So Amazon, I've just created.
Amazil.
It's a thing. It's a thing. All the cool kids are doing it. It'll make it.
Copyright Magic Locker. Nobody can take that, okay? She's got it.
So yeah, and I can be found at themagiclocker.com.
Great. Okay, until next time, thank you, everybody. Bye.